Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna start episode 3 now. Um I finally fixed whatever was wrong with the microphone. It only took forever. No, actually I couldn't find what the actual problem was. So I reset my phone because I remembered that originally when I first bought these microphones, they were working just fine. So after resetting everything, yeah, it worked. I'm glad I don't have to go through GarageBand to turn up the volume. Okay, I actually just got done having the stupidest phone call ever, which maybe is appropriate since tonight's topic is relationships and family. Um, Out of the blue, my ex calls me, and it's been a few weeks of no contact, no messaging, nothing. So it was genuinely nice to hear from her. But I swear, man, it didn't even take 20 minutes. And she started to complain about something. I think we were talking about the new Deadpool movie. And she was saying it wasn't what she expected, which, I'd already heard and seen how IGN and some of the other established pop culture journalists had IGN gave it a 7 point something, and I read this other article that said something. The headline was, "Oh, it's not as good," or "Fans are blah blah blah." And I saw the movie and I really liked it, but I kind of noticed that the movie, in my opinion, was for fans of the movies, of the previous movies, and for comic book fans. So I had the good fortune of being both. So in like the montage where Deadpool is looking for Wolverine and you get to see him on a cross, I remember that cover. When you get to see him from the Age of Apocalypse, I mean, not everybody's going to get that. Or when you get to see him being short, a lot of people aren't going to understand that because Wolverine is not the tallest in the comic, and I remember even the behind the scenes way back from X-Men, Hugh Jackman saying that, or maybe it was somebody saying about Hugh Jackman that if he could shrink himself, he probably would because he wants to be that true to the character, which, by the way, is total bullshit. Okay, here's why. Um, Wolverine has always worn the Wolverine mask since his first appearance in the Incredible Hulk 181, which was also referenced in the new movie, right? Because you see him and he's about to fight the Hulk, and that was his first appearance. And the Hulk kind of shows up, right? He makes a cameo appearance, not a full appearance. And all of that, I guess a non comic book fan would not understand, like why this or that is happening. Who's John Byrne? The John Byrne Wolverine outfit that Hugh Jackman's wearing in the scene where he's about to go up against the Hulk. All that stuff is like super iconic for comic book fans. And there's a ton of other stuff. A lot of Easter eggs and surprises for people that were fans of the X-Men movies. So if you weren't into the comic books and you weren't into the X-Men movies or the other uh, 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 Fox Marvel movies like The Punisher, Fantastic Four, Blade, Daredevil, um, you might not get some of the references or some of the cameos that show up in the film. If you're solely there because you like Deadpool and you like the sequel and you just wanted to see some more uh, Deadpool, but now with Wolverine, I can kind of see how some people might feel like they were let down. I don't know. That movie was fucking awesome. I mean, besides the montage, there were two really, really great fight scenes between Deadpool and Wolverine. And then there's an near the end of the movie, there's a sequence where Deadpool and Wolverine are gonna fight an entire army. I I don't think I'm spoiling with this. I think you get to fully enjoy it no matter what of uh, of Deadpool from a whole bunch of other worlds, variants of Deadpool, and it's amazing. I loved it. It has exactly what I always wanted from Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character, and it finally delivered. The movie Logan promised to be his final Wolverine movie, but if you remember when they were marketing it, um, there was a tweet that showed Wolverine's mask, and so 100%, uh, who the fuck didn't take that as yeah, he's gonna be wearing the mask in this his final movie, but he didn't. I hated that. Anyways, so this movie really delivered for me. And I just thought, how can IGN say this is a 7? I don't care that it's not exactly a 7, a 7 point whatever, a 7. Are you kidding me? You gave Baldur's Gate 3 a perfect 10. You called that thing a masterpiece. And you know what? Baldur's Gate 3 to me was a 9. It was not a perfect 10 because it had one of the worst endings I've ever seen in video game history. It was so short. After I spent I don't know how many friggin' days playing that damn game, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. It was so much fun. And then it had the most lackluster ending ever. I hated that effing ending. It was the worst. It really was. And I know some of you might be thinking, like, well, it depends on your decisions. It depends on what you did. It depends on what happened that will determine the ending you get. I know that. I I didn't leave it up to chance, okay? I did a ton of research so that I could get the best ending, and it was still very anticlimactic. It was very brief. I mean, I didn't expect a Kojima Metal Gear Solid style ending where the shit lasts like it's a 20-minute movie or whatever. But damn, man, that thing was honestly like I don't know, it felt like a minute. It was really really short. Maybe it was 2 minutes. I don't know. It just felt really like not it didn't have this feeling of an ending. And even though it was the best game of last year right next to Tears of the Kingdom, it was such a shitty ending for such a long ass game. I really would have wanted a better ending. Anyways, IGN gave it a perfect 10. Fine, fine, sure. On the sheer size and how much fun you can have and I know it's also an online game, which I've actually never tried, so it gives me a reason to go back and try it again. Um, I get why it's a 10, but fuck, man, that ending was so disappointing. It really was. And ballsy to have released it as a digital only game. You couldn't rent this game. You still can't. I believe you still can't. You have to either buy it or go play it at a friend's house. um I bought it just because for the longest I've been wanting to get into Dungeons and Dragons, and it's eluded me. Honestly, Dungeons and Dragons feels like I have to take a fucking class. Like I have to go to school and do homework to actually learn how to play this game. I mean, I'm sure I'm overcomplicating it, but if you don't have somebody that to show you the ropes, if you don't have somebody that just knows exactly what to do already because they've played it now for years, and you have to do it all by yourself from scratch, it can be a little daunting. There's a ton of books, and I have a good amount of those. Then you have to get the little miniature figurines, and you gotta buy a map, or you gotta draw it yourself, and it can feel like a lot. So I've yet to play my first Dungeons and Dragons game. It's maybe I don't have the right friends. Maybe I don't have enough friends. That's probably it. Anyways, let me come back because I will steer right off the road. I didn't agree with IGN's rating, just like I didn't agree with Baldur's Gate rating that they gave it. Um, I felt like because Deadpool and Wolverine didn't cater to today's stupid bullshit when it comes to the woke agenda or whatever. Even though there is a gay character in the movie, um, I'm sure they would have much preferred that there would have been a parade in the movie to celebrate uh, not diversity because that's a lie, specific specific areas of diversity. It's really not a spectrum of diversity that they care to focus on. It's just a specific area, and then, like, oh, okay, yes, like, for example, they probably would have preferred that Lady Deadpool been one of the stars of the movie, which I wouldn't have minded. Blake Lively being one of the co-stars of that movie, that would have been awesome. But her cameo was really cool, also. And who knows? Maybe in the future. Why not? Anyways, so my ex, she tells me she saw the movie. I tell her I did too. And she tells me that she didn't really think that it met her expectations. Which is fine, right? I mean, okay. But I already had in my mind why she might have not liked it. Because she doesn't read. She's not a comic book fan. Did she see the movies? Probably. I mean, who didn't see the X-Men movies, honestly? Um, but she probably didn't see the X-Men movies like an X-Men fan, right? Like, I was a fan of the comic book, I was a fan of the 90s show. And so I tried to sympathize and tell her that that's probably because of all these reasons, like I get it. You wouldn't right off the bat understand why Hugh Jackman is looking like a very tiny little man in one of the different worlds. And she just starts cutting me off, like, no, that's not it. And I figured, like, oh, okay, well, yeah, because there's several other reasons, right? The whole, why is the Hulk in there? Why is Cassandra, the villain, Professor X's twin? And she even stated that they shared a womb, but she's young. In the comic book written by Grant Morrison, New X-Men, um, she wasn't young. She was an old lady. But obviously, you can just say, well, she's not talking about that Professor X. She's talking about young Professor X. Of course. That's fine. I didn't mind one way or the other. And I knew it was her immediately when I first saw her in the commercial. I was like, oh man. um I don't know what that lady's name was, but she did a good job. The movie feels like a big budgeted, low budget movie. A big budgeted indie movie. But it doesn't matter. I fully enjoyed it. I would have given it a 9, not a 10. my one my one real complaint. I have another one, but it's tiny. It's not even important. My one real complaint about the movie was the foul language felt forced. There's one scene when Deadpool and Wolverine are in a car and they're having an argument, and Hugh Jackman is pretty much telling Deadpool everything that's wrong with him. He's immature, he's this, he's that, and he curses, and it's appropriate. It fits. It feels natural, you know. But so I don't have a problem with the foul language if it's appropriate. But when you have to force the character to go out of character to say these lines just for the sake of saying foul language. It felt really unnatural, and even it kind of felt like you were forcing the actors to act poorly because it felt so unnatural. Like even Electra is saying like shit, which is not a big deal, but you can tell that Jennifer Garner is not doesn't talk like that. Um, I didn't feel it there as much. I think it felt more unnatural for Hugh Jackman when outside of that scene in the car when he's just cursing for no reason except that he can. It doesn't feel natural. It felt forced, and I felt it kind of degraded uh, the acting a bit because it felt really unnatural. Other than that, um, Wolverine is usually portrayed as a short, stocky, hairy guy. And you can't do anything about Hugh Jackman's height, but I think you didn't have to shave him down. I would have appreciated a hairy Wolverine because that's the way Wolverine is always drawn to be. So I think you could have let Hugh Jackman grow out some hair in his forearms and his chest. I don't think he needed all that waxing. Uh, but you know, that's not a big deal. So, but the forced foul language was it threw me off. That's the only reason why I'm not saying it's a 10. But it is a great comic book movie. It's a great movie for comic book fans and for fans of the previous franchise of the X-Men, um, and even the other Fox Marvel movies. You know, I thought it was really awesome to see Wesley Snipes as Blade, um, Elektra, and Gambit was pretty cool. God, I can't remember his name. I was just talking about him also, but what? Oh man. Anyways, he did a great job. Of course, I'm a little biased, and Gambit in my mind sounds like the '90s cartoon, but he did, I guess, maybe a more realistic accent. It was good. In fact, I didn't even recognize him because I thought the accent was actually natural. I didn't know that was Channing Tatum. There you go. Love the outfit, but I think he's a little too stocky and beefy. I mean, no offense to the guy, he looks great, but the headpiece looked a little tight. Like maybe he needed to lose just a little bit of weight. But you know, I'm just glad that they did it so loyal to the original character, the way it's been drawn in the comics ever since the man, I can't remember when Gambit came out. I'm assuming it's the 80s. It's probably late 80s. Late 80s? Yeah. Yeah, late 80s probably. I used to own the first. Oh man. I hate myself for this, but I used to own almost every important comic book for the X-Men. Almost. I was only missing three, which is the original, X-Men number 1, aka Uncanny X-Men number 1 by Stanley and Jack Kirby, and Giant Size X-Men, which is the first appearance of Storm, Nightcrawler, Colossus. It's the first appearance of Wolverine in the X-Men comics, or that's the issue when he joins the X-Men. Yeah, that one, and of course, Incredible Hulk 181. Then my collection would have been complete. So yeah, I used to have the first appearance of Gambit, the first appearance of Elektra. Oh man, do I even remember? I think the first appearance of Elektra by Frank Miller was in Daredevil 168. Fuck, I still remember. I still own that one also. And yeah, I even own the first appearance of Deadpool. The first appearance of Deadpool was in New Mutants number 98, I think. And it was also the first appearance of Domino, which was just awesome. In the movie, the movie version of Domino in Deadpool 2 was hilarious. Her power was luck. That's pretty awesome. I really wish I would have held on to that, but I actually sold it right before the movie came out, the original Deadpool movie, and I sold it for a lot of money. I can only guess how much that thing would be going for now. And of course, I've so much regret it. I even met Rob Liefeld. When was it? Back in 2022 at the comic convention in, was it Anaheim? Yeah, at WonderCon. He was a cool guy, and I'm glad that I actually saw the Image documentary. So I got to ask him a bunch of cool stuff about how he used to pay his employees like a ton of money. It was insane. I would have loved to have worked for him. I mean, he was in his 20s. I'm pretty sure he was in his 20s when he was doing that. That would have been just the best. Oh man. Like, you never want to be a kiss ass, but when your boss is giving you so much money that you can just buy everything, then it makes sense to be a kiss ass. You wouldn't mind being a kiss ass to Rob Liefeld back then. Uh what else did I talk to him about? I told him that I saw the tweet um back when Deadpool 2 was about to be made, and Russell Crowe tweeted Rob Liefeld about him possibly playing Cable. And it was so hilarious. I was saying this to Rob at the con, and I'm like, and then you said, yeah, that sounds great. You should totally audition. And Russell Crowe tweeted back, audition? Oh man, this fucking guy, he had such an ego, and he's like, I mean, he didn't say this, right? But you could just sort of hear the mechanics in the man's mind, like sort of saying, like, "Do you know who I fucking am?" I was in Gladiator. I was in A Beautiful Mind. I don't fucking audition. Just give me the part. How dare you? And it was funny because Mr. Liefeld he remembered, but it had been so many years after the fact that he can find it amusing now. I think Russell Crowe is a. I mean, he's a good actor, right? Um, and he's done a lot of great movies. I recently, this past week, I showed my daughter his movie. Well, movie that he starred in called Noah by Darren Aronofsky. He does a great job. He's a great actor, but I mean, it doesn't matter how good of an actor you are. You need to be tested out. If they don't test you for the part by auditioning, which is testing you to see if you're a fit for the character, they might be making a mistake. It doesn't matter if you're an amazing actor or not. It doesn't mean that you're right for every role. Russell Crowe does a great job in the roles that he's done, but does that mean that he could replace Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible series? You might think, sure, why not? Okay, well, it's not proven. I don't remember any action movies where Russell Crowe is the lead. I mean, other than Gladiator, right? I really don't. And I'm not saying that he hasn't done any action movies. I'm just saying that none are coming to my mind at the moment. So, whatever action movies he may or may not have done, if he did do them, they're not sticking in there with me. So, I really don't think that he's done any big action movies besides Gladiator. I think that he sticks more to like theater acting type movies, which are great. They're amazing dramas that win tons of awards, and yeah, that's great. But would he have been right for cable? I mean, he was in that one movie. What the hell was it called? The, the guy from Wu Tang Clan. He pretty much paid for the movie. I think he even directed it. I'm not sure. Fuck, I can't remember the name of that movie. It had a cool title. I don't know why, but he was overweight in that role, and I don't think it helped the character at all. I don't know if that was on purpose or that's just how they got him and nobody said anything. Because he's Russell Crowe, you don't question him. He's overweight now, so he's gonna play a character that just happens to be overweight now. um, but you know what? With that kind of fucking attitude, like, oh, hey, I'm Russell Crowe. Don't fucking ask me to audition. Just give me the damn role. You think he would have put in as much work as Brolin did? I mean, the guy was constantly like posting videos and pictures of himself working out. I mean, I'm sure Russell Crowe can do the same thing if he wanted to, but then why the fuck doesn't he do it? Why doesn't he just work out and get into amazing shape? So, like Brolin, he could get into, I don't know, a bigger variety of roles because the man clearly doesn't want to. You know, he peaked. Sorry, but it's true. He got comfortable. He got very successful really early on. He did a lot of great stuff. He got comfortable. He's like, I don't have to prove shit now. And so, yeah, that was his attitude. And I'm sure that it hasn't changed. Um, okay, let me bring it back. So I was talking to my ex. She tells me why she didn't really, why it didn't live up to her expectations. I tried to empathize and say, I get it. I get it. It's because of these reasons. I know. And she pretty much just sort of got offended that I would even suggest that I know. And I wrote down her quote. So I wrote down what she said, and I quote, "Oh, yeah, you know how I feel." Oh man, I wasn't even done explaining the reasons why she probably did before she interrupted with that statement. I swear I wanted to hang up the fucking phone on her right that moment. I don't know why I didn't. I regret not doing it. When I finally did get to finish what I was saying as to why I think it probably didn't live up to her expectations, she agreed with me. She goes like, "Yeah, that's probably what felt off." When I got to the part as to like why why it wasn't a perfect 10 for me with the forced foul language. And again, I'm not against foul language. Say all the shit and all the fuck you want. Just don't force it, you know? Don't act like this is how people should talk. This is how everyone talks, indirectly trying to make audiences sort of feel that they should, and it's fine, and it's acceptable, and it's cool, and it's funny. No, it's not. Please don't. Don't start saying the F word at every other word. That would make me think that you're a low intelligence person, right? Because that's the extent of your vocabulary. And you lack self-control because you think it's appropriate to talk like that. um for the sake of entertainment, was it entertaining? No. Only when it felt appropriate. Like Deadpool can get away with it all day long because Ryan Reynolds has established that this is what this character is like. Okay, fine. That's fine. But don't give me a character that we've seen in a bunch of other movies and he wasn't cursing up a storm. He wasn't going off like that. And now all of a sudden it's every other word. It doesn't feel natural. Like I said, it only felt natural when he was really intense about it. He was really upset and you understood why he was that upset. Every other time was like, oh, come on. I get it. You're trying to fill the quota of a rated R movie. I wonder how many curse words you have to say in a PG-13 movie for it to go up that level. Oh, now it's rated R. you know. And I guarantee there is an amount of times. I don't know what it is. I think they try and pretend like it's a big secret. You know why there isn't a clear guideline? Like, okay, PG-13, yeah, you can say this and that word like 5 times. Why not? But if you say it like 10 times, then for sure it's an R. And I think the reason why it's a secret is because the MPAA is a fucking mafia, right? If you're an indie movie, uh, they're just gonna shit on you all day long. If you're a movie from a big giant movie company, then you're gonna see the green light on way more things, and anything they really don't like, they'll actually discuss it with you. Whereas if you're just an independent company, then it's very cryptic. You'll just get like a packet back where it says like this is rated X, this is rated R. They won't tell you why. And so that's why I think it's like a mafia, you know. It's all about who you know in that business. Oh well. I mean, who didn't know that? Another thing I really don't like about my ex is she is a very negative person, and she will cuss up a storm like in a Deadpool movie for no apparent reason. So if I witness somebody cussing up a storm, I'm going to think something is really bothering them. Right? Wouldn't you? But no, not with her. That's just how she talks. um I think I don't know why, but I tend to be an emotional sponge where on my own, when I'm not in a relationship, I feel great. I'm very active. I get a lot done. And even if life isn't perfect, I generally feel happy. I have my daughter in my life, and she's pretty much all I need to be happy. And I feel fulfilled and content. Um, when I was in a relationship with that person, it felt like I really don't like focusing on negative stuff, but well, I said I was gonna talk about relationships and family, so I felt like a babysitter, but I was babysitting somebody else's kid, so they weren't really listening to me. And no, not like I'm telling you what to do. No, I mean like if she's having a problem, I'll listen, but I realize that the problem is mainly that she's just supremely negative. So I'll tell her not to focus on that, and she won't listen, so I can't help her. If my daughter has a problem, I'll give her my best advice. She'll listen, the problem will be fixed. So, and I know that with what I just said, you know that it wasn't a good relationship or the right fit because her maturity levels were so low. I mean, she's told me that she had a lot of trauma in her life, which must have caused arrested development. And I understand that. I went through that myself, so I get it. But it was hard for me to make that decision because it sounds cold hearted to say, I can't have you in my life anymore. You know, you're not good for me. And I wish her the best, but I I don't see her changing. And especially in today's world where movies, for the most part, and television and school, fuck, really want to make it all seem like it's all a man's fault. And that the problem we have in society today is men. Okay. But I think that while that is going to cause a lot of backlash in the future, I mean, you're really going to hurt a lot of boys, young men, um, who are going to grow up in a society where they're being told that they're wrong for being the gender that they are, and that they should look the other way if a woman ever does anything wrong. And I think this is also damaging for women because I think it will stunt their growth as well. You see, I think in a normal society, or the way it should be, I mean, when someone makes a mistake, you learn from your mistakes and you grow as a person. You you can't really do that when you refuse to admit you made a mistake. If apparently you never make mistakes because it's someone else's fault, how do you grow from that? How do you get better? How do you look at your your um your shortcomings and strengthen them if apparently you're already perfect? Whether women are being told this directly or indirectly, mostly indirectly, that they are perfect when there's no such thing as perfection. I mean, if you're good at something and you know you're good at it, that makes you happy. But if somebody's telling you you're just good at everything because you're a woman, then I think that's damaging because that person's potential will never be reached because apparently it already has been. You get what I'm saying? This is the, the the situation at hand. And I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet. I hope we have. I really hope it gets better. But this whole situation, um, with the woke lives, and I mean the the woke and the BLM and the LGBTQIA plus, um, seems to be getting out of hand. Um, what seems to make sense from a moral standpoint with good intentions seems to be getting abused by some people in power, sort of controlling and manipulating the younger generations, right? the older generations can see where these good intentions are being misused to justify things that are very self sabotaging and anti diversity, actually. I don't think you can find peace with violence. And if you can't rationally talk about your point without becoming belligerent, angry, um, abusive, violent, I mean, what have you, then you must have a very weak point. It's pretty interesting to see it develop in real time. Um, I'm glad I'm not in the country. Um, I never watched the Olympics. Um, just like I've never really watched the Super Bowl. I've done it, but I don't really care when it's that time of the year. You know, people will just sort of bring it up, but I don't really care. I'm not going to watch it. Why? Apparently, there's a ceremony show before the Olympics start. And the Olympics this year, I don't even know if it's every 3 years or what, but the Olympics this year is in Paris, France. And they had a drag show, um, and something that looked like it was making fun of the Last Supper of Jesus. And it doesn't look like it can be debated now. It doesn't look debatable that there are two sides, two real sides, the good side and the bad side. And it's up to you to know the difference. But if you think you're in the good side, you shouldn't do anything that could corrupt children. And if your entire personality is based on your sexual preference, um, keep it to yourself. Pride is it's a sin for a reason. I think that if you're proud for no reason, it's it's going to develop a fake ego where deep down inside you kind of know it's for no reason. So you're going to defend it like crazy because it can't defend itself. I am I'm straight, but I'm not. I don't need to celebrate that fact. because I don't think that who I am um, is defined by the gender I'm attracted to. It shouldn't be something used to define me as a person. I wouldn't want it to, at least. I don't. I don't really feel like that much of a sexual person because when I was younger, I was, and it didn't bring me any joy. In fact, I think only the opposite. I think I was lied to and misled by movies and music and television and even my fellow peers. When I was young, it was cool to have had sex with many, and that's just fucking stupid. I can't believe body count is even a phrase or a term now. But I wish mine was closer to a handful or less. One person. That would have been great. But I was way too impulsive, like most people today. Anyways, that's a topic for another time. Um, I practice SR, you know. I'm abstinent, and the extra protein, I think, honestly, helps me exercise a lot more. Helps me sort of keep my mind on track on the things that matter, not on sex or trying to find someone to have sex with. I think that when sex or masturbation is a part of your life, um, you're not really focused on the things you should be doing because you're fantasizing about the things you could be doing. So it's just my opinion, but I would never want to have my sexuality be a focal point of who I am. And I don't think that the Alphabet Club is representative of everyone that that is gay. I've seen enough random clips, um, people interviewing gay people stating that they feel that the Alphabet Club goes too far. I mean, they fucking ruined Star Wars, for fuck's sake. I refuse to watch The Acolyte. I mean, honestly, if George Lucas's canon means nothing, what's the point anymore? You know, just call it something else. Don't call it Star Wars. I think I would have watched it if it would have been presented as something new, not Star Wars at all. That then it might have been interesting because I don't have anything against what's her face, uh, Harvey Weinstein's ex lady helper. I I liked Russian Doll. Was that what it was called? First season. Second season was like, what the fuck is going on here? And I didn't dislike anybody that was in the Acolyte. I just think that the story was weak, stupid, and inconsistent. But I will say that I didn't watch it. So I'm stating what I'm saying is based off of a bunch of other people's reviews. So I've seen a bunch of those. And maybe they were a bit biased. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like Star Wars anymore. So that's the pointing part. I think you all would have been better off not calling it Star Wars, doing the exact same thing, and you probably would have gotten way better reviews. Ah, man. I didn't want to I didn't want to record today's podcast. My ex has such a talent for draining my energy. Yeah, I really didn't feel like it. Um, oh well, it's just the way it is. Got to stay consistent. Otherwise, how am I ever going to get better at this, you know? This last week, my dad had his birthday, and I I miss the way he used to be because he's getting up there in the years. But I remember the way he used to be when I don't know how to describe this. It's like the man he is now is just an echo shadow of the man he used to be, my dad. I remember that no matter what, I always felt safe because he was around. Even when we argued and I hated his guts, those were just, moments when we were pissed off or upset about whatever. But in general, I felt better that he was there. And in 2016, he got hurt at work and he hurt his arm. That's it. You know, he didn't hurt his brain. He didn't hurt his legs. He still had mobility even in the injured arm, but he just let himself go. And I don't mean that he put on weight. I mean, he just started doing nothing. He started reading the news on his fucking iPhone. And I wonder if that's my fault. They used to have regular cell phones, not the stupid ones that we disingenuously call smart. And I don't know. I just thought that, well, they could really use these new kind of phones. So I'm going to urge them to get them. And I was right. They kind of know how to use the GPS, the maps on there. They kind of know how to use a search engine on there. They know how to use a camera. Um, they know how to use Messenger, the WhatsApp. They'll look up videos on YouTube. Um, but my father really got glued to the news app, and that's where he gets all his information from. So you can imagine how fucking horrible that is, since the news is a poor imitation of the truth. I don't know if it's always been this way, but I wouldn't be surprised. The news seems to be only there to lead the masses that will actually pay attention to it. I don't like the news. I used to have a subscription to the local newspaper, and this was a long time ago, and I remember feeling all grown up, you know, got a subscription to the news. I'm a man now. I'm an adult. And it was fun, you know. I would skim everything and read only the things that interested me. I liked it. It was all right. I think I'm not sure. I haven't checked. I think a newspaper subscription still exists, but seeing how everything's going, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said like, "Oh no, they already got rid of that years ago." Yeah, I don't know. It would make sense if they got rid of it, since everyone's just on their fucking phones all the time. Um, my father got that fucking injection, which I'm not gonna say exactly what it was, but you know, when the shit happened in 2020, he it makes me sad because I still remember 2020. It was still it was still him, and he didn't tell me. He didn't tell me he was going to, but I noticed a change in him, a very severe fucking change in him. like like he wasn't responding right. He wasn't acting normal. He was acting like he was having mental failures. And that's when I just thought of asking, like, did you get this fucking shot done? And he said, yeah. And I was so fucking disappointed. That goddamn, you know what? Hadn't even been peer reviewed, right? Because, I mean, when there's a new medication or whatever, it takes like 10 years of clinical trial and error. Nope. Just here you go. Good luck. I mean, fuck off. Man. Um, Ever since, it's just been the same guy. He never got better. It's, I mean, yeah, no. It's just like I lost my dad. He's still here, quote unquote here. Um, it's a weird situation because I'm glad he's still around, but I used to look up to him. He I mean, he graduated medical school. Both of my parents did. That's where he met my mother. You know, he was a really smart guy. He he really loved world history, so he's got that down. And he loved the Bible. He knows it really well. Um, I don't know. He was always the voice of reason. He he really showed me um, what a true man should be. He always worked every day that I was alive. I knew him, and he always had a job, and he never complained. And my mother was terrible with money, so we never had any money. We always owed everything. So even though he earned pretty well, we lived like we were poor. I mean, you should have seen the food we ate. The cheapest, honestly. I mean, I was overweight my entire young life. And it was because, they didn't know the difference. Up. I don't know how the fuck you don't know not to constantly eat bread and tortillas and processed shit. But I don't know how the fuck they graduated medical school. Uh my dad was the smart one, and my mother um was the other one. um I think my dad really subscribed to the ideology of a happy wife, happy life. Because that's how he lived it. You know, my mother um, would just fucking bury us in debt, and my you know what? Let me cut this short because this episode is it can't fit. It's too much. It's too much in there. This is just the relationship episode. Yeah, the relationship. That's for you, Dane Cook. Um, but yeah, I mean, he was such a great example of a hardworking man who practiced self control. I mean, at all times. Uh, More than any other man I've seen, especially with the things that he's had to put up with And so I was grateful and I did admire him. And to lose him in this weird fucking way where I'm talking about him like he's underground and he's not. It's just I don't know how to explain it. The person he was and the person he is now after he got that injection, it's very different. It's very, very different. I mean, before I was dealing with an elder man that still had a fresh mind. And now it's it's not the same. It's not the same. And sucks because times are hard and having the people around you that mean the most, people that make you happy or make you feel safe, um, makes a big difference. And our birthdays are pretty much like a week apart, kind of. His birthday was past Friday. Mine's gonna be next Saturday. Um, yeah, I wonder what I'm gonna wish for. Oh man, times are tough, but I think that things will be all right as long as you stay tough as well. I mean, you got to meet the challenge. And while he's still alive, even though he is a cranky old man, I know that when it really is his time to go, I'm going to feel so much better that I can look back and say I tried my best. Because if I look back and all I see is him being cranky and me bitching about it, or him being kind of a jerk and me trying to out jerk him, I'm gonna feel like shit. I'm gonna seriously feel like fucking shit. So if this is the way it is, if he's, I don't know, having problems and he can't really cope with it, so he lashes out and behaves like a bit of a jerk at times, I think I'll feel a lot better looking back on that if I know that I didn't respond in kind, right? If I don't know, I took it on the chin or something. I mean, what else can I do about it? I think that's the best I could do. I think I'll definitely feel a lot better. I hate fighting with my family. And it's stupid, right? Because I don't get anything out of it except feeling shitty afterwards. So I'm gonna try and just keep on trying. And I'll probably fail, but I'll keep trying even after I fail until I eventually stop failing and just get along with my dad. My mother's another story. I mean, she's fine. I mean, she will probably never die. I'll die first before she dies. I'm sure of it, and that's fine. But well, I'll leave the rest for another day. Anyways, thank you very much for sticking with me throughout my rant. As usual, I have a notepad um, with a ton of bullet points that I wanted to talk about. Maybe I'll briefly read them. Oh, right. I noticed that episode 2 got cut off 8 minutes before the actual ending. I was going off on a rant about my conspiracy theories when it comes to Dragon Ball because there's a lot there. But hey, everything happens for a reason. Maybe I got cut off for some good reason. I don't know. What else was I gonna say? Oh, I tried a new site like Omegle. I think it's called Emerald City. I had an argument with an Orthodox Christian in New York City that it was funny. It was amusing. I like that website. Oh, I heard that Toby Maguire, 49, is dating model Lily Chi, who's 20 years old. So, um, Weird Al, love Weird Al. He's the best. He recently put out a music video called Polka Mania. It's awesome. You have to hear it. It is so damn catchy. If nobody's around, dance to it. It's awesome. What else? Assassin's Creed. Woke samurai in feudal Japan. Yeah, sure. Why not? If you make it good. Except I've seen a lot of Japanese people putting up videos on how they don't really appreciate the woke agenda trying to rewrite Japan's history. Um, so the new Assassin's Creed, I don't know what the fuck it's called. Honestly, I don't give a shit. I might play it just so I can poke fun at it. Um, Hopefully that'll backfire on me and the game will be fucking awesome. Why not? But I kind of doubt it. So the character is based on a real, possibly a real person, except the real possible person that the Black Samurai is based on was only mentioned like about a paragraph's worth. So some guy, white guy, of course, um, he took this paragraph and from the paragraph developed an entire fucking book that the new Assassin's Creed is technically loosely based on. Huh. Um, I mean, I think the game will speak for itself if it's good or if it's shit. And if it's shit, which I kind of think it probably will be, trying to just sort of, I don't know, cash in on a trending topic, woke. The wokeism. Um, oh, I've been reading a lot of manga. Berserk and JoJo's Bizarre. Man, where has manga been all my life? Pretty happy reading comic books again, but more than that, reading good comic books. I think I stopped reading comic books because I read all the good stuff. So the only shit that was left was the bad stuff. And I don't feel like reading that shit. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I hate people that say that stupid shit. What else? I don't think there's anything even worth mentioning. Oh, today I saw the first hour of the new Quiet Place movie, Day One. I saw the first hour. I didn't finish it because wow, that movie is so fucking boring, man. Honestly, it has like a ton of potential. I love the first movie. I love the second movie, but I think what made those movies so great was it was a team effort in front of the camera. It compelled me to watch, to see these interesting characters develop and just to sort of see what happens with them. Whereas Quiet Place Part Three, um, it's just about one character, and then a second character joins in, and I don't know, maybe the I don't know if it was a I saw the first hour, so whatever comes after that, maybe it picks up for just a good ending. But that first fucking hour was so boring, so fucking boring. Honestly, it had like very brief, interesting moments. It bored me so much that I felt like, why am I even watching this? And I just stopped watching. And maybe when I'm really bored, I'll watch the rest of it. But there's nothing compelling me to do that anytime soon. So I don't think I will. Um, I checked out a little bit of Family Guy because I did kind of feel like, you know what, I'm in need of something funny. I really haven't seen a lot of funny stuff in a good long time. Everything just seems sort of stupid or cynical or self sabotaging or just the wrong message. uh, so I saw Family Guy. And yeah, most of it is stupid and some of it can be funny. Oh man. I wish South Park was still on. I hate that fucking deal those guys took with Paramount. Like, you're going to make these movies for us. And what's up with the short seasons? Fuck, man. Oh well. I know that Mike Judge had made that new season of Beavis and Butthead, but fuck, man, I can't watch that shit. It's humorous, but it's also like really sad. I mean, I guess you have to be young to not realize how sad Beavis and Butthead is. um, okay, now I'm stalling. Now I'm addicted to this confession. All right, never mind. I gotta go. All right, good night, everybody. I'll see you next time.